Alright, we're live. So, today, I finally got in some S3 ESP32 modules. They've been almost impossible to get, at least for me. So I finally got some, and I wanted to do a bit of testing today to see if how they'll work, and if they work. The pinouts between the S2 and the S3 module, mini modules, are almost identical. There's like two pins that are different, but one goes from a GPIO pin to a ground, and the other one goes from a GPIO pin to a no connect. So I don't think it's going to matter. But just for testing today, I'm going to assemble one and fire it up and see how it does. So I'm going to roll over here to the my little assembly area, because I'm not standing next to it right now. Got my coffee, because I just woke up. And let's get started. I'm going to rotate you guys here in a second. And I'll mind this camera. Let me know if anybody can hear me okay. Yeah. Should, but we'll see. So, I'm going to spill that. These here are the S3 modules that I got. And that's the, oops. That's the S2, S3. I'm going to be kind of interested to see if there's any difference as far as like deep sleep current between the two modules. I mean, the biggest difference between them is that the S3 has Bluetooth and the S2 does not. I mean, I think there's some other things too, but that's probably the most noteworthy one. So, make sure I put away the right modules. And let me, a second here. Try to operate a, okay. Alright, that's our S3. So we need to assemble one of these. Grab come on. Ugh. Desk is an absolute disaster, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Guess I should have got most of this stuff clean. Oh geez, straightened out before I did this, but. And debating basically I want to break one of these up. Basically they don't come, they come in a big panel, but I break them off into these little sections so I can hand assemble them. So I'm just going to break one off because I'm just going to do one today. And let's see here. Normally I'll do like 8 of them at a time, but I'm going to do just the one, so I'm going to slide just one under here, and hopefully it lines up. Maybe. Oh, geez. I didn't clean this very well the last time I did it, and now there's stuff stuck in my some of these holes, which is not ideal. should have cleaned that better. Let's, do I have any Q-tips around here? Yeah. Clean some of this off. Just using rubbing alcohol here on the end of a Q-tip. Let's do another one. All right. Try and clean it up. Okay. Put the little board back underneath there. How's that lined up? Kind of, but not really. Hoping might be good enough. All right. Mix up some paste here. Not going to need much, just a little bit. Geez, I didn't clean any of this last time. Guess when I did the last batch, I was like, I'm done. Didn't bother to clean anything up. Okay. Let's try and get this on here without. This is probably gonna be a terrible paste job on this board, but as long as it works. Let's see how that looks on the other side. Not terrible. I think it's serviceable. There. I'll set that off. Put this up here. Boom. That. And make sure I get it in focus for you guys. Hopefully that's good enough. Okay, close that. Now the fun begins. Which one's this one? Okay. So come over here to my my little handy guide, so I know where to put which components to put where. And we're going to start assembling. So probably be one ugly board, but trying not to. Actually, let me. My big fat head gets in the way. Just let me know. Okay. When I was doing these like a bunch at a time, I didn't really need the guide because I can just remember where all the components went. But it's been a little bit since I've put some together, so. Better be safe than sorry, just use the reference guide here. Okay, I got a 1U at. What did I do with my? What did I do with the? There it is. Hold on a second. very difficult to list what's up here. You're not going to be able to see where I'm grabbing these from, but I have like a little thing that I'll show you at the end. Little thing with all my little components in it. Where was this one at? This one was down here. Reset. And get that. Okay. That one, I'm going to do 5.1K resistors. Okay. This one, oops. Goes there. Goes there. And this one goes here. Oh, I just lost it. Sometimes they snap off the end of your tweezers and then they're gone forever. Wait, yeah, this one goes. Hopefully there's enough solder on those pads to make a joint. And this one goes there, okay. Next we got 100K. Open up my thing again. Two of these. Okay. Oh, I just lost another one. And this one goes there. Okay. 10K. I'm pretty sure that one is not 10K. Okay, got those. Now the fun part. Let's see if I can find all these in a pile of stuff I got going on here. This is the this one's probably my least favorite to put on because it's the feet stick out the bottom and it's kind of wobbly, but come on, turn it over. There we go. And I gotta get the right way. This is the Schottky diode. Stops current going the wrong direction. Okay, put that on there. Did I open this one yet? Or no? I have not. Voltage regulator next. Ah, jeez. Well, slung the whole thing all over the place. So here's the voltage regulator. As I just throw it onto the board. Good job, Paul. Goes here. Okay, like that. And let's see here. Maybe I did use. Oh wait, right over here. I really gotta clean this desk up. Like, I've just got stuff everywhere. I guess I'll open this one. I thought I already had one open, but. I suppose in time, I wouldn't necessarily need to put this on here, but because this is the battery charge circuit, I just want to see if the ESP32 module works as intended, but might as well. Okay. Let's get this one upright. There we go. Okay. Am I missing one? Nope, no. So that's upside down. I don't even know which one that is. All the others are on there, so I need the LED. Let's just go with green for funsies, I guess. Usually I'll put a red one on there because it uses the least amount of current out of all, like the 3 colors. But in this instance, it doesn't really matter. I can never remember which way these go on. Pretty sure it's that way though. Okay, and then we need the MOSFET, which is this. Hopefully I'm not dropping any frames or anything. I think I'm doing okay, but let me run over here real quick and just... Where's my mouse? There it is. Yeah, I think it's still good. So we need to put on... Where's it at? Oh, that sucker. Yeah, these were something that I had a hard time getting as well. I ran out and then I was able to finally get some more in. But it's like crapshoot whether or not stuff will still be there when you go to reorder. Okay. Now we need let's not do our buttons yet. 1 second. One of the annoying things about the stencils that I got, at least for the footprint from this USB-C, is like from JLC PCB at least, for whatever reason they're not consistent with whether or not they put the holes in the stencil for the feed of the USB connector. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't know if it's like different engineers are like, yes, that should be in there, and others are like, no, it shouldn't. I would like it to be in there, but for the stencils for these, it didn't come, so I have to like manually put some solder in these holes. So actually, that is nasty. Get that up. Let's see here. There we go. Just not ideal. This would be way. I think for another batch or when I do the next revision on these, I'm going to see if there's an option where I can tell them, hey, put the feet in the stencil, please. Let me find. I've got stuff everywhere. Okay, oop. Sorry if that's a little wobbly. Okay, so we're gonna put this on. This is our USB-C connector. Hopefully. Oh, don't be stupid. Come on. There we go. Make sure that's... Hopefully there's enough solder on those pads to work, because reworking these USB-C connectors is an absolute pain in the butt. Put the little buttons. with this. I don't need that. Oh yeah, I have a webcam. This is what I keep all my little components in. The ones that are at least somewhat organized. I've got a bunch of stuff on the floor that's still bags that I haven't taken out yet. Okay. Okay. Make sure everything else is on here. It's not all like perfectly straight, but when it reflows, it should work. Okay, now the moment of truth. Let's put this. Make sure this is the right one. S3 mini. Okay. Try to stick this on here without smearing anything. Tell you what, having shaky hands does not help. Okay. I think everything's on there. Now, I wonder if I can use this to refill it for you guys on camera. Normally I'd just stick it in my oven, or a refill oven, but that's not it. If the black camera goes blank, I apologize, or the overhead camera. Let's plug this in. Usually I just use this for reflowing, but nope, and there it goes. 1 second. The cable for this thing is like extremely finicky, and I ordered a new one, so hopefully it's okay. Let that heat up. Let's bring some coffee. Oh boy. So, I'm trying to get my mouse all the way across the, there we go. Alright. So I'm letting that heat up. And once it's heated up, we'll stick this on here. I'm not going to put the Pir sensor on just yet because I have to hand solder it, and too, if this doesn't work, it's easier to rework some of the components on here without that thing on there. So usually I'll assemble them this way and then test that they work, like as far as like I can plug in a USB cable and it connects and all that fun stuff. Okay, we're pretty hot. Let's see. I've not reflowed a whole one on here before. I've reworked them like this, but maybe you guys can see. Let's see if I can make this little. Let's see how long this takes. Riveting stuff, I know. Okay, give that a minute. Oh yeah, smell it. Yeah, start to reflow. Taking a closer look at it here. Let's turn this one up a little bit. Okay, those have basically reflowed. Can't do the whole board at the same time, unfortunately, so I'll have to slide it across it. It's like watching paint dry, but it's watching solder melt. I think that end is probably good enough. Do that end, and then I need to find a heat sink or something to. I'll just throw it on that thing over there in a second, let it cool off. Hopefully my head's not getting in the way when I. Okay. The only thing, I mean, like these mini modules that I'm using, I like them because they're obviously really small. The only downside to them is that since the pins are on the bottom of it, you know, they're like this. I'll try and get the pins are on the bottom. You can't tell if it's reflowed or not. Normally, if you let, I mean, I haven't had too many issues. I've only had like one board that I know of that it didn't reflow right, but for the most part, it works just fine. But that's the only downside, I guess. Otherwise, they're really nice. They're small, compact, and they do what they're supposed to do. Okay, I think we're almost there. It's hard to tell if that side over there is reflowed or not. Kind of looks like one has and some of the others maybe haven't. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. All right. We're almost there, I think. I'm going to set this over here to the center and see if it. I feel like a couple of these up here have not reflowed all the way. I can't really tell without getting my head directly over the top of this thing and blocking your view. Don't know what I did with my magnifying glass. No idea. Absolutely no idea what I did with it. Let me take this off and kind of get a better look at it. No, okay, I guess I did reflow. Alright, let me throw this on the heatsink real quick. Let that cool off, and I'm going to rotate over here. Give me a second. Desktop and phone. I'm not sure which one I want to use. I just use that one. Should have set some of this up beforehand. Oh, whoops. Thought I had the webcam already set up, but apparently I did not. Okay. Take that around. Okay, let me see if this thing's dry yet, or not dry. Cool it off. forget what the heck I did with my... Oh, wow, I'm blinder than the bat. It was sitting right next to me the whole time. Got a magnifying glass so I can kind of glance at some of these components and see if everything is soldered right. Looks okay. The solder on those feet of a USB that go into the board doesn't look that great. So I might get some weird behavior, but we'll see. I'll plug it in and see if it recognizes it or not. That's the first step. Okay, that's good. So yeah, it's a ding. That's why I wish they would put the stupid whatchamacallit, holes in the footprints for the stencils. Okay, so that's, what if I can trying to decide what I want to do here. Let me back the top down and see if I can't focus this enough so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Bring this back over here. Yep. So basically, there's not enough solder in these joints for the USB-C, and so what happens is that when you plug something in, it tends to wiggle up and down, and these connections don't happen very well. So probably just go through and like hand solder these real quick and see if that doesn't make it a little bit stiffer. So my soldering station's over at my other desk, so I'm gonna have to quickly jump over there and do that real fast. But it'll only take a second, so let me put this back on. Okay, which one? There we go. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if that actually helps at all. So let's plug this in. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear that on the mic or not, but it's basically it's recognizing it, and it's like, oh, I don't recognize it, and it's because the connections. A little bit shoddy. Let me put it into boot and see if that makes a difference. Okay, let's open up Arduino IDE here. Give it a minute to start up. But the fact that it recognized it is good. You know, the footprint is essentially the same as the S2. We will do some testing. I'm curious to know if like Deep Sleep works the same way with the same Arduino code or not. Because like between the S2 and the, oops, I don't know if I want to show any of that. Hopefully I didn't show anything I wasn't supposed to as far as like passwords and stuff. No, I think we're right. Pull it off to the side. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. is it. So that's not, let me unplug this and plug it back in and see what I get. Huh. That's weird. Okay, so let me set this over here so you guys can see it. Sorry, I was getting things squared away. So when plugging this in, it shows up as a for Cutie Pie C3, which is not correct at all. I'm going to select a different board, go S3. So we'll try the dev module. And see if this flashes or not. I might have to. Dang it, do this again. Okay, let that compile and let's see if it programs or not. Yeah, it's thinking about it. This is my little test program that I run, you know. Okay, it's programming it. That's good. Well, that was easy. Now, I didn't make a new one, did I? Which one's this one? Let's see here. Okay, I think one of the pins maybe is not connected, but I'm gonna see if I can find a good way to show you guys how this works without. Let's go back to the top-down view. Give me a second here. Okay. Bear with me in a second. Trying to. What the heck did I do with the other one? There it is. I think that's how I had it. Is that 5 volts? What is this? I don't want to plug in something that's going to fry it if I. Bear with. Oh my god. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Trying to get this thing. That's not even the right cable. What am I doing? I want to try. I don't know what this thing puts out. Actually, hold on a sec. Sorry. Let's. No, that's not gonna work either. Bear with. I'm fumbling around over here. Trying to get the right cable set up so that I can show you how testing works to a certain degree. Okay. So I made this little jig, and I actually I've got newer ones that I have to assemble at some point because I've forgotten to break out like the RX and TX pins to make sure they work. So I kind of made this
you know, I don't know what you want to call it, but hack of a job, just so I can verify that those pins work. But I made updated PCBs, so I need to assemble a new test jig at some point. I don't know if you heard a word of that. My mic was setting off to the side. If you didn't, this is my test jig. I had forgotten to break out the RX and TX pins when I first made it, so I could test that those work. So this is kind of a hack job, but I made new PCBs that I have to assemble in a new test jig at some point, but this is how this works. So I basically put it in here, and then I'll watch, make sure all the LEDs turn on, and basically if this one's up here is blinking at the end, means the Wi-Fi is connected. I also have some in here that'll turn on when the detects motion, but since there's no PIR sensor in there, it obviously it's not going to work. But it does program and it does work with a S3 module, so that's awesome. So let's, I guess we'll put a PIR sensor in it and see if we can program it. I'm really curious to see how the deep sleep works, and I'm curious to see what the battery usage is, if there's any difference whatsoever between an S2 and an S3. So we will do that next. Let me grab my little things over here. That's not that. Got another little jig. Like that. And okay, so this is how I do these. Make sure that I put these in the right way. The pins. So make sure I'm in the right direction here. Luckily, out of all of these I've assembled, I've not put this PIR sensor in the wrong direction or backwards or anything. So I'm shocked I haven't done that yet, which I would find in testing, obviously. But so I made this little jig that when I put this in here and I press it down and make sure that this PIR sensor is at the same exact height. You know, it's not sticking out at like a weird angle or anything. You know, it's not doing that or off like that or anything. You gotta make sure it is flat and square. So I press it down and I tip off the excess leads here. Okay, I gotta run over to my solder station because it's not at this desk. It'll just take me a second. Bear with. Alright, got that soldered on there. So, let's get a lens. What the heck did I do with those? Oh, here we are. Okay. Pop our little lens on here. Let's get our little test jig back. Plug it in. And once it runs to the testing here, as long as it detects motion, those two lights come on. Solid. And since I didn't move, it didn't go off. But if I, you know, move in front of it or wiggle my finger or whatever, it goes off. So everything's working. Now let's what? You know what? I'm going to solder on a battery connector real quick, so that yeah, I want to test the battery usage on this thing and see if it's any different at all. So this might take a little bit longer than the other process, but okay. I'm going to, what do I do with my, I have a habit of moving stuff and then forgetting what the heck I did with it. I stuck it over there. So you can solder these on with just regular soldering iron, but I like to put solder paste on mine and just hot air it. Something like that. And stick that on there. Okay. It's mostly right. Okay, I'm gonna hot air this real quick, but it's at my other station, so just give me a minute. Okay. Okay, our battery connector is on there. So let's program it. Let's see if the deep sleep works the same way as the S2 does. Try to cool us off a little bit. Oh, Jesus. Okay, let's go back to desktop. Okay. Let's see here. Trying to find. I'm gonna open these up. So I'm not sure if they have like my has Wi-Fi passwords and stuff. So just bear with me for a second. I think this is the actual test program. Actually, let's open the other one. Okay. Pretty sure this is the one I want. Okay, pull over here. Oh, a little too far. Okay, so this is a deep sleep program that connects to Wi-Fi. So let's plug this in. Put it into program mode. Again, that's not the right board, but whatever.
S3 dev module program. I'm really happy that so far, like, everything's just worked. Again, I don't know if the deep sleep in Arduino works the same way with the S2 as it does the S3. I was mentioning earlier that between the C3 module and the S3 module they have different code that you have to use to put it to sleep and wake it up. So we'll see if this one's any different or not. Okay, it's programming. All right, that programmed. Oh, you know what? No, that's enabled. It might be working. I think it might actually work. Okay, that would be awesome. Now, let's find out how much battery it uses, or you know what the consumption is. I'll plug in my little. Okay, so we can close that. Open this, and there it is. Trying to find. So this is what I use to test battery consumption. It's a power profiler by Nordic Semiconductors. If you look at my webcam, it's one of these. It's a handy little tool. There's a couple probes on the end, like that. And then what I do is I just plug in a battery cable, but it has two leads exposed so that I can connect my probes to it, and then it'll power it and tell me how much power it uses. So plug this sucker in. Okay, I forgot to plug this in. This one here. Try to get this arranged. Okay, so let's select our device. And we'll put this at 4200 because that's what the maximum LiPo is. And let's hit start, turn it on. Let's see if it goes to sleep or not. Yeah, it did, okay. So that's exciting. And then I'm gonna put my finger in front of it, wake it up. I usually point the sensor away from it because like any movement sitting here would wake it up. Like a double wake here or whatever. Okay, this is probably enough information to wake it up again. Okay, I'll stop it here in a second and see what we get. So, on average, let's just a little bit. Use about 68 milliamps to connect to Wi-Fi, and I think the S2 was 80. Look at my thing. Sad I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it uses the S2 version uses about 80 milliamps to connect to Wi-Fi, so that's an improvement. Deep sleep's kind of where we're most curious though. Ooh, that's way better. That's using 25 microamps and the S2 is 45, so that's almost half. Wow. That's pretty exciting. So, what would that mean for our... Oops, I got all this stuff popping around. let's see, battery. Here, let's pop this sucker up. Oops, wrong one. So, what did we say the Wi-Fi was using? How long was this? 67 for about 5 seconds. Okay. We'll just say 70 just for. And 25 microamps. And that was on for 5 seconds. So if we. This is just quick math because I can't do it in my head. It triggers 20 times a day. That's almost 2 years. Or not quite, I guess. 573 divided by 2. Oops. 573 divided by 265. That's a year and a half. That's not bad. With the next revision, there's a bunch of stuff I want to change. So hopefully it may be even better. But just by switching, whoops, I don't know why I did that. Just by switching out the module from an S2 to an S3, it's considerably. I mean, your microampage is half almost, which is awesome. I mean, it'd be nice to get that as low as possible, but 25 microamps for something that's got a bunch of circuitry on it, I think is pretty good. There's like tricks where you could like use a MOSFET to turn everything off, but I don't like the PIR sensor still has to be active in order for it to wake up the board. So I don't think that's an option. The other thing I'll for the next revision is let me turn this on because I don't need that. Let me turn that down. Give me a second here. So this PIR sensor has some limitations. It's basically what I could get because of the silicon chip shortage. Like for instance, you can't adjust the sensitivity on it, which sucks. I really wish you could, because there's situations where, you know, maybe it may be too sensitive and you would like to turn that down. So I've been looking at some other options, and there's one that I came across. Oh, the other thing that I don't, whoops, did I throw it? The other thing I don't like about it is that since it's through hole, so I have to hand solder all of these, which, you know, you do a ton of these, and you know you're doing like 1,000 solder joints or whatever, and it's kind of annoying. So I was looking at SMD options, and I came across this little guy. It's SMD, and this is just a breakout board that I have it on. This one, supposedly you can adjust with little trim pods. You can adjust the sensitivity of it, and I believe the detection distance to a certain degree. So I'm going to be doing some exploring with that, and I would like to potentially use this instead on the S3 version of the B Motion. That's, you know, that would be ideal at least. But I'm going to have to. That's going to not be today. It's going to be a different day. The funny thing about these though is I looked at just getting like a handful of just the sensors themselves, but with the shortage, like I could order them, but I had to order a reel of them, which is like 1,000, and I'm like, I don't want to buy 1,000 of these things. If it doesn't work, then it's just, you know, I've just wasted a ton of money on nothing. So I looked for like somebody else used these sensors in some form or another, and then I found these little breakout boards that somebody had made. But the funny thing about them is, it's like, well, okay, so I went through Mauser and I found them. I was like, you know, let me order a handful of them so I can tear them apart and break them or whatever. And they messaged me back and told me I had to fill out a form, basically stating that it's not intended to be used for military use. I'm like, okay, yeah, definitely not, but I don't know why, I don't know who, like, why this would be used for military use, this little tiny PIR sensor, but had to fill out that form just to get these, to get these little breakout boards. So, yeah, that'll be coming up soon. Be playing around with those. And then eventually I'll be designing the next revision of the B Motion, which if I can get enough of the S3 modules, I will 100% use that. It's already proven that it uses less battery consumption, which is fantastic, and it has Bluetooth as well. So that is awesome. More positives than negatives. The only negative is that it costs a little bit more than an S3 or an S2 rather. Sorry, but I think it's worth it. So yeah. So I eventually will design a new revision. There's a bunch of change. Like, it's been interesting. I've got a bunch of people bought the first revision of the B Motion, which is awesome, and the B Motion Mini. Like, getting people's feedback is interesting. Like, one thing that I should have added, I don't even know why I didn't think to add it, but basically adding voltage dividers, or at least holding, the voltage divider for the battery, and I also want to add one for the USB. But basically right now, like, you plug in a battery and it runs, but you don't have any idea like what the battery level's at. So putting a voltage divider on there, we'll be able to tell, where your battery's level's at. So that's something I want to add. A different PIR sensor. I think I'm actually going to put the battery connector on the top somewhere. It's one of those things where I was trying to make this thing as small as possible, and and this thing's kind of, the battery connector is kind of big, so like end up putting it on the back, which works, it's fine, but that's something people have to solder on yourself, and I think that's a little bit of a pain, I suppose. And the other option is like, even though I've made this thing as small as I can, which is awesome, but you consider you put a battery with it, and depending on what size battery you put, it's way bigger than the board itself anyway, so what does it matter, if you do something like this? These are probably the closest I've found, battery-wise size that are a decent milliamp. This one is 820 milliamp. So making the board a bit bigger, I don't think it's going to be a huge deal, actually. So yeah, that'll be for another day. Yeah, that's basically it, I guess. I just want to do some testing with this and see if it worked, and it does, which is awesome. Didn't even have to change anything. So that's good to know. Anyways, that's where we're at for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video or live stream or whatever. So.